What is up guys, welcome back to another episode of ReaperCast. Today is going to be a very important video and I highly encourage all of you actually watch through this all the way to the end because this is actually quite big news, not only for Cardfight Vanguard but for also TCG in general as well. So recently it has been announced that Cardfight Vanguard is introducing a new format and this is going to be big as well. So far the problem with Cardfight Vanguard is the power creep and a lot of people are definitely well aware of that fact. Even players from other card games are well aware of the fact that Vanguard has this particular problem. No other TCG has this kind of power creep aside from Vanguard, and in such a short amount of time as well. As a result, Vanguard has taken the liberty of actually implementing a new strategy, a new format that actually balances out everything about the game. And this is really big as well, so I'm just going to get to the point. Basically, in this new format, instead of choosing to build a deck among 24 different clans or archetypes, if you guys actually want to relate it to Yu-Gi-Oh!, in this particular scenario, the clans or the nations now have been restricted down to only 5. Meaning if you want to build a deck, you have a choice between 5 different nations to choose from. This makes it entirely player friendly and introduces a lot of beginners into the game really easily. But at the same time, for any returning players, it will be incredibly easy to actually get back into the game. The other fix with this particular game and format itself is the fact that there is now a separate pile for a ride deck. A ride deck is basically a deck where you have a grade 0, grade 1, 2 and 3 in there, and it allows you to actually just ride directly from that deck every single turn. Now if you guys don't know what a ride is, basically the way Vanguard actually works in the game itself is that each and every turn you're allowed to ride one particular card, allowing you to jump up from a grade 0 card all the way to a grade 3 card. However, you can only jump up in levels each turn, and it must be in the correct order as well. In previous formats, if you actually bricked and you actually had a bad hand or you didn't draw well, then you wouldn't be able to ride to your next card, meaning you would be left behind and you would end up losing. So to actually have a separate deck, to have pure access every single turn to actually ride to the next grade is definitely fixing up this whole consistency issue as well. But wait, there's actually a lot more to come here because now they're actually going to be releasing it as a separate format, meaning all of the previous formats have nothing to do with this. And I'm not even going to bother talking about the other formats because this new format itself is a great gateway to actually get in a lot of new players, a lot of returning players again, and this will be quite fantastic. Treat this as if it was a reboot of the series. The previous reboot that actually occurred was known as the V format, and in that particular format, a lot of people disliked the game itself because of the fact that it actually introduced new mechanics and it didn't fix any issues whatsoever. Consistency issues were still a problem and there was plenty of power creep actually going on as well. A lot of people even quit the game. A lot of people couldn't keep up with the game anymore for the fact that it now just required you to buy a whole heap of new cards for the same amount of price that it always has been. So that was kind of my problem with the game itself, and I kind of had to take a hiatus from the game itself for the fact that I just couldn't keep up with the game. I had built so many decks already, and to actually get all the new cards and update all my decks would have cost me an arm and a leg. However, that's not the case for this new format. This new format is essentially a fresh start. You don't have to actually have any of the old cards to actually get into the game. It's almost as if it's starting you off as a new card game. Basically, all you need to do is go out and buy a trial deck. A trial deck is essentially the equivalent to a structure deck, and you basically can just open it right up and start playing. The difference between a trial deck in this case is that the trial decks actually give you a full playset of every card in the deck itself, meaning you only have to buy one trial deck to get started. The other amazing thing about this trial deck is the fact that it's actually starting off at $3.99 USD. So that's going to be an extremely cheap and easy viable structure deck, or trial deck in this case, to actually buy and just get started. That's absolutely amazing. That means that even if you're unsure about this game itself, you could always just spend $4 at best for USD dollars of course, to actually just get into the game and give it a go. If you don't like it, that's fine, you only lost $4. However, if you do like it, it's not going to be that difficult for you to get into the game itself because of the fact that this is a new format. It's technically as if it's a new game. Of course, it retains the same similar rules as the old formats, but with a few adjustments. And so it's a fantastic way to actually just get into the game for very cheap and very easy learning curve as well. I absolutely love this big change. This is a major change, and you guys are probably wondering what's the reason behind this big change. Well, believe it or not, but Bushiroad, who is responsible for actually making Vanguard, has a new director, and this new director is a big deal. Well, let's actually go over the credentials of this new director. Basically, this new director has been known to work with Magic before, Magic the Gathering that is, and bring it to its success as we see today. So with that being said, he has a lot of experience under his belt. However, he has more than that. At one point in time, there was a game known as Shadowverse, which was essentially dying at a particular point in time. Something needed to be done to that particular game in order to bring it back, otherwise it might have actually ended. This director, who was actually responsible for bringing the game back so much to the point where it actually became an official esport. That's a big deal because even Yu-Gi-Oh! Isn't considered an esport. Well, not an official esport that is. As a result of that, we could definitely have some promise in this particular new director here for the way he's actually going about with all these things. He's making everything really player friendly, really beginner friendly, allowing you to introduce a lot of new players, a lot of returning players for a cheap price, and since the game is technically starting fresh and you don't need any of the previous cards to actually get into this as well, you have no excuse whatsoever to deny this game. This game is definitely well worth getting into again, and it is going to be very exciting, and this pretty much will confirm the fact that I will officially be returning to Cardfight Vanguard, and that will also mean I'll eventually start making more content on Cardfight Vanguard on this channel again. Now, as these new standards of the game actually are brought about, it's going to be very interesting for the fact that this change itself to the game could actually affect Vanguard in so many ways, in so many positive ways, because if this actually works out and Vanguard does become this successful game again, it could potentially become one of the biggest card games out there. It might actually, yes, surpass games like Yu-Gi-Oh! Magic or Pokemon, which are already really big contenders out there who have stood their ground for a very long time. In fact, Yu-Gi-Oh! Pokemon and Magic have stood their ground for over 2 decades. So I think with Vanguard, if it actually is heading into that correct direction here at this particular point, if the marketing does actually go well in that case, then I do think that Vanguard could actually become the next big card game out there. Of course, Vanguard has already had some kind of reputation among other TCG players, but of course, we have to actually get the general public into this as well, and the way it's actually going about, it might make it possible. So I'm now very excited about all of these big changes. I highly encourage you guys to actually check out more of this information because it is a huge deal. I'll leave the links in the description box and also the comments down below as well to the Twitter feed and also a video that actually explains this all, or actually shows a trailer, and I highly actually recommend that you watch the trailer. It's definitely something that will hook you in. So with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Definitely drop a like if you enjoyed it. Definitely share this video because I want more people to actually know about this new change for Cardfight Vanguard. It is a huge deal, and don't forget to comment down what your thoughts are on this as well. I also highly encourage you guys to actually try and get into the game if you haven't before, because this is going to be very cheap. There's no excuse whatsoever. If you guys are wondering when this is actually coming out, it's coming out in May the 14th. So that's something you could actually write down on your calendar and be prepared for that. Just remember that Cardfight Vanguard has one of the best card designs, one of the best artworks in its game itself, and it is definitely just really amazing, surpassing Yu-Gi-Oh!, Magic and Pokemon in terms of card design and also card quality as well as card artwork. But with that being said, don't forget to subscribe for more videos just like this. I hope you all have a great day. I'll see you next time.